Thank you. I thank you, my brothers and sisters. What a wonderful, warm welcome. I thank you because of the support that you gave me during this hard time. It was comforting to know that you were there for me and my family. Thank you, sir, for inviting me to come talk. My husband gave me a little bit of advice when I said I want to be a police officer. And it's the same advice that Mr. Canterbury gave his son, and I hope that others gave their future police officers advice. Number one, join deferred comp. Number two, join legal defense. If there's anything else that you don't do those two things. And I did. I signed up. But just like everybody else, you think, well, nothing's going to happen to me. I do my job. I do it right. I'm good. I'm never going to need it, but okay. I went ahead and signed up for it. So why have you not signed up? As a young officer, I can understand you have obligations. Man, sometimes it's hard to even buy the diapers for your babies. And as an older officer, you're looking at retirement. I've got to put every dollar I can into retirement. But you're also maybe looking at having to take care of elderly parents. Every dollar you have goes to something. And you've got all of these worries. Well, let's just take a moment here and think. What kind of worries are there that you don't realize? And the only way I can explain it to you is to share with you some of the worries that I had that I didn't know that I needed to worry about. In a split second, I had to make a decision. That split second caused a chain of events that I did not know could ever happen to me. To me. Within a day, I started receiving death threats. I'm going to kill you, and this is how I'm going to kill you. My daughter started receiving threats at work, so much she had to quit. 3 days later, I'm having, and within 15 minutes, we're told there's a posse en route to your house right now to take you from your home by any means necessary. They will drag you out if they need to. And in 15 minutes, I had to gather whatever I could and throw it in a bag, make sure my children had another safe place to go. I grabbed my grandson. I went and got my mother-in-law. My husband and I loaded up our 2 dogs, and we're headed to a safe place. How were we going to afford that? That's not something that we prepared for. But in just a moment, I had to do that. We had to come up with a safe place and money to make sure that we could survive. And then, while I'm there in my safe place with my family, trying to deal with what had transpired, I received a notice saying, hey, you need to tune in to the local news back home. There's something you need to hear. And I did. My gut fell out. I went, oh no, this cannot be possible. I followed my training. I followed my policies. I followed the rules. This cannot be happening to me. And what I heard was that I was being charged with a crime. Manslaughter. And I'm having to go back home, and I had to go to jail. Had any of you ever prepared to have bail money? I didn't. So let's add on to another worry. I had to come up with bail money to bail myself out of jail. I'm a cop, and I'm having to bail myself out of jail for doing my job. So let's add another worry onto that. Because not only was I charged, and I had to come up with money to bail myself out, now my administrator took my paycheck away. I want you to think about that. How would that impact your life right now if your whole income is taken away? So now all those worries that you had on a normal day that you get ready for work, multiply those. How many second jobs are you going to need now? Oh, well, let's wait a minute. I'm charged with a felony. Nobody hires anyone who's charged with a felony. So I want to ask you, can you afford that? Well, all of the worries that I had, there was one worry I did not have to worry about. I had legal defense. I didn't have to worry about who was going to represent me. I didn't have to worry about how I was going to pay for my whole trial. Now let's put this in perspective. My criminal case alone, you ready for this? Criminal does not include the expungement. It does not include the civil aspect that's going to be coming along. Legal defense put out $411,000. There was another group that did some fundraising and provided for security for me. This is armed security for the whole time of my trial. They gave another $100,000. Do you have $500,000? Do you have $500,000 to put up? No. So I want to know, and you ask yourself, is it worth that $68 a year just to cover your criminal cases? Because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when it's going to happen to you. I want to thank my local FOP, my lodge, Lodge 93. Because when I was faced with not having my paycheck and I'm going, how am I going to make my mortgage? How am I going to eat today? They stood up and they said, we've got your back. And they did. They fundraised for me, and they helped me and my family survive those 8 months. I couldn't make it without you. So thank you for listening to me. if you go back home and you know somebody who doesn't have legal defense, tell them the importance, because I don't want any one of you to have to go through what I did without the security. My FOP had my back. The national FOP had my back. Legal defense has got your six. They had mine. Thank you all.